Call me to order. Please stand for a pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all for coming and being able to technological difficulties. A roll call, please.
Sarda? Here. Greenway?
Yes.
Mueller?
Yes.
Crandall?
Yes, we have a forum. You have before you the agenda for the next meeting. There's a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion to approve the agenda before us.
Second?
Moved and seconded, we approve the agenda. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Greenway?
Yes.
Mueller?
Yes.
Sarda? Yes. Crandall?
Yes, let the record show that Dr. Sternquist is now in attendance. Item 4, the conflict of interest. Does any member remember this? I thought we just did that. We approved the agenda. Okay, item 3, we approve the minutes for the March 11th regular school board meeting. There's a motion to approve these minutes.
Make a motion to approve the minutes of the March 11th, 2024 school meeting.
Second.
Moved and seconded, any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Sternquist?
Yes.
Greenway?
Yes.
Sarda?
Yes.
Mueller?
Yes.
Crandall?
Yes. Item 4, conflict of interest. Does any member wish to express a conflict of interest, either direct or indirect? Moving on to our consent agenda. Before you, the consent agenda for this evening. Does any member wish to make a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda before us.
Second?
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Sarda?
Yes.
Mueller?
Yes.
Greenway?
Yes.
Sternquist?
Yes.
Crandall?
Yes. Item 6, public comment. Is anybody signed up for public comment?
No, they haven't.
Nobody signed up for public comment. So we move on to item 7. Good news. For the Dr. Oops. I'm on your record.
I don't deserve that title of doctor. Good evening. So today, I'd like to share with you some elementary happenings. So every month when we share, sometimes our buildings have individual things, but there are a lot of things as a district, elementary-wise, that we're proud that we all kind of do that is the same. So first of all, I think Mr. Bestie talked about it last time, but we did have Sheltered Reality come and perform at all 4 of the buildings, and they did a nighttime parent performance at Stewart School as well. So that's the drummer group, which basically just inspires to bring positivity to each and every one of us. Maybe not quite as exciting depending on how you look at it, but our elementary schools will all be doing state testing coming up here probably within the next few weeks. Those are our 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders. Also, our 5th graders will be participating in the all-school orchestra concert, which is at the end of the month. Tomorrow, all of our 1st through 5th graders get the opportunity to go up and see Ms. Miner and all of the high schoolers who are practicing for the first time in front of an audience, high school musicals. So we've done that for several years. Just our students really love it. It gives them a chance to get up there, maybe view it when they normally wouldn't have the chance to. And then next week, all of our 2nd graders will be heading back up to the high school for Bike Safety Day. So huge kudos to the medical clinic, Ace Hardware, and the Rotary Club, who gives a free bike helmet to every single 2nd grader in Yankton. And then near the end of the year, all 4 of our schools, our PE teachers plan a fun day, either on the last day or the 2nd to last day of school. So a good way just to get outside and rotate through stations. And then in case you haven't heard, I know signing day for seniors is a really big deal, but we are going to have our first ever signing day for junior kindergarten and kindergartners. It's true, if you haven't heard it, we're doing it. So we are going to do this at screening, which will be at the very end of April. We have pencils that are about this big that they're going to be signing. We're gonna have the screen like you see all of the athletes pose in front of. Their parents can sit next to them. They're going to have a form that they're signing. They're committing to the Yankton School District for the next school year. And I think Dr. Kindle may even have a little treat that he ordered for all of them that might have a little monetary something, which isn't real money, but if you see pictures posted on Facebook or Twitter, you'll like it. So we're proud of that. We're excited about it, making a big deal of our future Bucks and Gazelles. Any questions?
Thank you, Dr. Olson.
Good evening, everyone. Too, like Mrs. Riken, we have a lot of things going on at the middle school. To wrap up this year, we, last week, the 7th graders went to what is called Camp Med, and you've probably seen it on Facebook, but they rotate around to different medical sessions that is brought to us by the Department of Labor. So that was kind of cool for the 7th graders to do that. Took them out of school for a couple of hours, so that was great. This week on Wednesday, Mrs. Olson's LCE class, the 8th graders are going to go up to Mount Marty for the nursing simulations. And if you haven't seen them, they're really cool. They look like real people. Kind of freaks you out a little bit, but it's pretty awesome. So I'm excited to see what the students come back and say about that one. The 8th graders in May here, they'll be going down the watershed, and then they'll be going to the tours to the high school. So they'll be graduating middle school here pretty soon and getting excited about that. Then we're gonna have 5th graders coming in at the same time to have tours for the middle school, transition in, and then the last day, we're gonna have our recognition day at the school. So anyway, a lot going on.
Awesome.
Yeah, so it's an exciting time of year and we're all excited for it.
Any questions, Dr. Olson? Thank you, ma'am. Katie Schulte, come forward, please. Katie Schulte, you attended the United States Senate Youth Program in Washington, D.C.
Yes, I
And there are 2 students from each state
Yes,
that
correct.
go, and so we're very honored to have this young lady, Katie, represent Yankton High School at that event, and Katie's gonna tell us all about it.
Yes. Okay. So if you can turn your attention to the screen behind you, I have a lot of pictures to show. And thank you, Dr. Kindle, for inviting me to come speak. Okay, so I went to Washington, D.C. March 2nd through the 9th, so I got back about a month ago. Oh, okay. I found it. Okay, sorry. Okay, so I flew out of Omaha on Saturday, March 2nd, and into Chicago for my connecting flight, and then into Washington, D.C. So I was all by myself on the first flight, but there was no problem. And then in Chicago, I was able to meet up with my co-delegate Lila, and another one from Nebraska, and another one from North Dakota. And the picture on the top right is actually outside of my plane window, so pretty blue sky. And then when we arrived at Ronald Reagan in DC, we were met by military mentors at baggage claim. And after that, we just waited around and met a couple of new delegates, and then we were taken to the Mayflower Hotel where we were staying via coach, and that's just like, they're just charter buses, and we were all assigned a bus.
An arrow.
Yep. Thank you. Just let me know when you're ready. So on Saturday, we mingled in the ballroom where I was able to meet several other people, and we began with some speakers. So we heard from Taylor Oster, who was an alumni from 2012 and from North Dakota, and she was just elected president of the Alumni Association. We also heard from Tuka Alabadi, who was a delegate from last year, and who's a current student at Georgetown, and they both just gave us some advice about the upcoming week. Next, we heard from Bill Daugherty, who is a part of Braver Angels, and Braver Angels is a citizens organization to unite red and blue Americans, so Republicans and Democrats to come together to depolarize America.
And then we heard from Jonathan Bissell, who we also called JB. He was the director of student activities, and he always provided the instructions for the day and always addressed us as delegates and distinguished guests whenever he would speak. And then after dinner, we went and met with our military mentor groups and hosted them. And so a little more about Braver Angels. So political polarization is a very current issue and prominent issue in the United States, and how people of opposite parties have hatred against each other just without knowing anything about them. And so it really prepared us for the week and allowed us to have an open mind about the other delegates and really get to know them, even though you might disagree. And he had an interactive session, and we talked with other people about what we thought the cause of political polarization was. And so I talked to Yasmin, a delegate from Connecticut, and we believe that the media was a major contribution to this, and just how, like, when you watch videos or watch the news, they use algorithms, and they really just show you what you want to see. You're never able to prove the other side. And then we also noticed how views on presidential candidates causes the political polarization as well. This was my military mentor, First Lieutenant Catherine Krolicki. We also call her LTK. She was a USSYP alumni from Nevada in 2016, and after that she went to Harvard. She's a member of the Air Force, and she is stationed at Joint Base Andrews in Maryland, where she oversees a team of 10 airmen as the Deputy Intelligence Flight Crew. And then this was the first night we were all seated in the ballroom, and that is JB, Jonathan Bissell. This is the hotel I stayed at, a very beautiful Mayflower hotel. It's very big and it's very beautiful. Okay, Sunday was our first day, and every day we have breakfast at 7 a.m. So our first place we went to was George Washington's Mount Vernon, and our speaker was Jeremy Ray. He is the Senior Director of Interpretation, and he gave a speech about presidential immunity and provided some documents discussing it. We toured the Indoor Museum and then the grounds of Mount Vernon. We also participated in a wreath-laying ceremony on George and Martha Washington's grave, and in the afternoon we went to the National Portrait Gallery at the Smithsonian. And so this is my military mentor group on the left, and going from left to right, that is Angelina from Maryland, and then Anushka from Illinois, Layla from Indiana, Ariel from Kentucky, Sophie from Oregon, Eva from Vermont, me from South Dakota, and then Deepti, who's also my roommate from Minneapolis, Minnesota. So people from all over that I got to know, and we were really close at the end of the week. And then on the right is just one of the rooms in Mount Vernon, the pretty green paint. And then this is me and my co-delegate Lila in the museum, and we're taking the presidential oath. And then on the right is Mount Vernon, George Washington. The kitchen and one of the guest rooms. And at the National Portrait Gallery, there is Ronald Reagan, President Ronald Reagan, and 4 of the female Supreme Court justices. Next day, Monday, our breakfast speaker was Secretary Pete Buttigieg, the Secretary of Transportation. He was also a USSRP alumni from Indiana in 2000. And then we headed to the Russell Senate building, where we heard from Elizabeth McDonough, the Senate parliamentarian, and Sansaria and Barry, the Secretary of the U.S. Senate. Elizabeth McDonough is in the blue on the left, and then Sansaria and Barry is in the magenta. Then we headed to the Madison building of the Library of Congress, where we heard from Carla Hayden, who was on the top. She is a Librarian of Congress, and Catherine Scott, the United States Senate historian, was on the bottom. And then these are just some pictures from the day. We had professional photographers that followed us around the whole week and really captured the experience for us. Then we headed to the Supreme Court of the United States, and we heard from Elena Kagan, who is Associate Justice of the Supreme Court. She was appointed in 2010 by President Obama. And one of my favorite quotes from her was, "Just because you disagree with someone doesn't mean you can't be friends." And then at dinner, we had a performance by the Old Guard Fife and Drum Corps, where they played music from the Revolutionary times. And our speaker was Senator Catherine Cortez Masto of Nevada. Tuesday, we went to the Department of State, and we were at the National Museum of American Diplomacy. And our speaker was Lauren Fisher, who is an education program specialist, and she gave us an idea about what diplomats and ambassadors do. And next, we had a really fun activity. It was a diplomacy situation, and we had a problem in international migration crisis. And basically everyone was assigned either like a country or an organization, and we had to work together to solve the problem about immigration. And so it was intense, but we were able to come to an agreement, so I learned a lot from that as well. Then we had lunch in the Benjamin Franklin State Dining Room, and our hosts and speakers were Bill Russo, who is the Assistant Secretary of State for Global Public Affairs, and then Naz Durakoglu, who is the Assistant Secretary of State for Legislative Affairs, Rebecca Gonzalez, Ambassador and Director of the Office of Foreign Missions, and then we also heard from Antony Blinken, the Secretary of State, for a couple minutes as well, so he was able to pop in. And on the right is a statue of Thomas Jefferson. So on the top is Antony Blinken, and then on the bottom is Gonzalez, and on the right is Durakoglu, and all of them are speaking to us. And then these are just some photos from inside the dining room and then the diplomatic reception room. And in the diplomatic reception room is where our leaders have important meetings with leaders of other foreign countries. And they had old trees there and old Chinaware from like President John Adams. So it's really interesting as well. That day we went to the Lincoln Memorial and then the Washington Memorial for about 15-20 minutes to take pictures. And then we headed to the National Archives and we had dinner next to the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence at the Rotunda. And our first speaker was Colleen Shogan, the Archivist of the United States, and our dinner speaker was Senator John Barrasso, who is also a doctor, and he's from Wyoming. And then we were allowed to take pictures. So the one on the left is the Declaration of Independence, and the one on the right is the United States Constitution. Wednesday, our breakfast speaker was Brian Kamoy. He is a USSYP alumni from Pennsylvania in 1989. He was one of my favorite speakers, and he has done a lot within the country, including serving on the National Security Council during the Obama administration. He went to the U.S. Naval Academy, and he currently works at Deloitte. And my favorite quotes from him were, "Welcome to Washington, we need you. What is it that you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? And in your life, you have two things to give, your love and your labor. And those who think they're crazy enough to change the world are the ones who actually do." Wednesday, we went to the Department of Commerce at the Herbert C. Hoover Building, and our speaker was Richard Spinrad, the administrator for NOAA, the National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration. And then at lunch, we went back to the hotel, and our speaker was Congressman Emanuel Cleaver of Missouri. He's a representative, and he's also former chair of the Congressional Black Caucus. And that is Representative Cleaver on the left, and then we also heard from a panel at the Department of Commerce. And then Wednesday night, we went to our annual reception for senators and delegates, and Senator Mike Rounds was able to attend, and so he stayed for some pictures, and we engaged in brief conversation with him. And then Senator Thune was unable to make it to the reception. And then Thursday, our breakfast speaker was Judy Woodruff, senior correspondent and former news anchor and managing director on PBS NewsHour. And then on Thursday, we went to the United States Capitol, where I was able to hear Senator Thune speak on the floor, as well as senators from Arizona and New Mexico. And while Thune was Senator Thune was unable to attend the Senate reception, we were able to have a meeting with him on Thursday. He reached out, or his staff reached out and set up an appointment with us. So we were able to go to the Republican whip office, and we just had a very casual conversation with him, and he asked us what we wanted to do with our future lives, and we were going to college, so very good to see him. Then we went to the Hart Senate Office Building, where we heard from Senator Bill Cassidy of Louisiana and Aaron Weber, who is also a USSYP alumni from 2013 in North Dakota, and he is the Legislative Policy Advisor, and he works in the office of Senator John Haven of North Dakota. Then we went to the Department of Justice in the Robert F. Kennedy Building, and we heard from Kristen Clark, the United States Assistant Attorney General for Civil Rights. And then that night, we went to the White House as guests of President Biden and the First Lady to watch the State of the Union address. And they had TVs set up for us in the east wing of the White House, and they also provided popcorn and some candy and pops. So we had a watch party for the State of the Union, which was so amazing. And just to be there was very, very just cool, especially just being in the White House. And then after the State of the Union, after just seeing the First Lady on TV, she came and took a picture with us. And then after she left, we waited around, sat around, and then the president came and also took a picture with us, and he stayed and talked to us for about 20 minutes, and it was just so amazing to see the president in real life. And he also, that picture was taken like after around midnight, because that late we were at the White House, but it was definitely worth it. And then Friday, this was our last day, we went to Arlington National Cemetery in the morning, and we also had a ceremony at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. We had a couple delegates hang a wreath, and then we also saw the changing of the guard, and a soldier played taps. So it was very moving. It was a very beautiful place. And then we went to the Pentagon, and we were actually escorted in by the Pentagon police, and we had a tour and also saw memorials for 9/11. And our speakers were Melissa Dalton, the Deputy Undersecretary of Defense for Policy, and Charles Brown Jr., Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. And he is the highest ranking military official. He was also one of my favorite speakers, so I have some quotes from him. And he said, "It doesn't matter if the glass is half full or half empty, it's how you fill the glass." And his 5 points were: fail to succeed, challenge the status quo, trust but verify, have attitude, and define success. And then I have a couple more quotes in my journal that I wanted to include. Sometimes you have to take a chance. Don't believe everything people tell you. People will not tell you yes if you don't ask. Don't play for second place. And you learn more by listening. And then my favorite one was, it's not where a leader stands in comfort or experience, but where he stands in challenging controversy. And then that night we went back to the hotel and we had our farewell dinner, presentation of colors, music from the Navy Brass Quintet, flag folding ceremony, a farewell slideshow, spirit competition, and student farewell speeches. And a little more about the spirit competition. So we had a competition between all 3 of our coaches, our charter buses, and we had to do something to prove our USSYP spirit. So kind of it was open to anything. And so my group, I choreographed a dance to Party in the USA by Miley Cyrus, and we sang and danced for all the delegates, and so there's some fun pictures of that. So this is in the middle of our routine, and then we went up with microphones on the balcony, and the video is even better because you can just hear me screaming. And then we ended up winning the spirit competition, so that really made me cry, was winning that, and I was very happy. And then these are most of the people on my bus, and as you can tell, I was very excited about it. Yep. And then here's a little more fun pictures from the week. So I obviously had such a great time, and I met all these amazing people from all different walks of life all over the country, and we were able to get along, and I made so many friends. It was so worth it, and it was very hard to leave, as you can see, because I don't know if I'll ever see some of them again. And then on the left is my military mentor group at the White House, just having fun. And then on the right is a white chocolate capital dessert. That was the best dessert we had, and all our meals were very formal, with having to know which one is your bread and which one is your drink. So it was very, very good.
I see you have a scientific.
Yep, D for bread, D for drink. Any questions?
That is amazing.
Thank you.
And it is a great presentation. I want to congratulate you, and the board wants to congratulate you on this great honor. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, Katie, I said I had something special for you. I cannot outdo that. This is a close second. So I grew up in Winter, like the small town person. I get the Winter Advocate every week to keep up on everybody. So front page is Katie. And not only that, I'm going through it, you're in here twice. And to make the Winter Advocate twice in one day, you're pretty good. So I would say treasure this Winter Advocate. I kept it for you for about 2 weeks, so here you go.
Thank you.
Yeah, congratulations. Yeah.
And then I also have my diploma, if any of you would like to look at it, that's signed by the senators.
Katie, you may have told us this before you went. I just want to clarify. Had you ever been to Washington DC before?
Never. It was a great first trip.
Okay, that's pretty phenomenal.
Don't go back.
That's about as good as he's gonna get there. That's awesome.
I was treated like royalty.
Thanks again, Katie.
Thank you for having me.
Next up, we have Andrew Stanchek and Lexi Zimmerman.
Yes.
Alright, good evening, members of the board and Dr. Kendall. I'm Andrea Stanchek and I teach 7th grade English and Language Arts at the middle school. And I'm also the co-president of the Yankton Education Association, also known as YEA. So tonight I just want to give a little good news about YEA and what we do. And I also have another member here with me.
Yeah, hi, I'm Lexi Zimmerman. I'm a 7th grade math teacher and I'm chair of the YEA Public Relations Committee.
See if it's gonna work. There we go. Oh. Not too far. Okay. So just in case you don't know, so YEA is a professional organization and we work for Yankton's teachers, community, and kids. And we are organized into committees. And so tonight we're gonna highlight just 3 of those committees: the social committee, the community service committee, which our chair is actually in attendance, Deb, and our chairs, co-chairs, Deb and Lynn are in the front row there. And then our public relations committee, and Lexi, as she said, is our chair for that committee. So throughout the school year, we've done a lot of things. A few pictures to show you. At the beginning of the year, we always give all the new hires a gift of some sort just to welcome them to YSD, make them feel excited to be here when it's a really, really stressful time. On the right side there, you'll see we donated some books to Educators Rising at Mount Marty.
Okay, here you can see on the left was our little student scarecrow at Amazing Acres. That was a lot of fun for us to put together and find school supplies. And then on the right is the Trick or Treat for Pathways, where different buildings in the district donate different items of need for pathways in October.
During American Education Week in November, we hosted a social for all the teachers in the district that wanted to attend. So we had treats and then we had like a little trivia game complete with prizes. You can see some of our happy winners up there. We also helped to pack sack packs for the community kids. And then the last thing we have for you, maybe. There we go. That's our
Okay,
last one.
this is our last one. This was at the Mead Museum. We decorated a tree for the Hall of Trees. We had a very school-themed tree. It was a lot of crayons and pencils and rulers and stuff on the tree. And that was really fun to do as a group and to put that up for YEA.
Yeah, and we plan to continue doing lots of things for our community as the years go on. Do you have any questions for us? All right, thank you for listening.
Thank you so much. I hope that's our last slideshow that my neck's getting sore. Next up, we have the math for teacher contract. Entertain a motion to approve the master teacher contract.
And motion to approve the master teacher contract as presented.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Before we move on, I'd like to defer to Mrs. Greenway or Mrs. Sarda, both of the negotiations committee, if you have any comments you want to make regarding the contract or negotiations involved.
I thought it actually was an excellent negotiation, and it was very quick, very congenial. I think we were on the same page, and I think what we wanted to let the teachers know as far as we can, when we can give, we will give, and we appreciate what they're doing. And I just feel like we had a really good working relationship, and I really appreciate that.
I would echo the same. It was very good, and yeah, absolutely. We just worked together, came to the consensus, and were able to provide what I felt was a very good exchange between the two sides.
Thank you both very much for your hard work on that, and thank you to the YEA, the spirit of cooperation that both entities showed this year. And so we have a motion and second, take a roll call to approve the master contract.
Mueller,
Yes.
Sternquist.
Yes.
Sarda.
Yes.
Greenway.
Yes.
Randall.
Yes. Item 9 is the certified contract amendments. Entertain a motion to approve the amendments.
Make a motion to approve the contract amendments as presented.
Second.
Moved and seconded, any further discussion? Pardon me, roll call please.
Sternquist.
Yes.
Sarda.
Yes.
Greenway.
Yes.
Mueller.
Yes.
Randall.
Yes. Item 10, CTE Spotlight. B.
Good evening, thanks for having me up here tonight. Just real quick, within our CTE program, something that's been here throughout the week this week is our week of work. South Dakota Week of Work, it's a great time for schools to host different opportunities, connecting students with businesses, and our business leaders as well. So a couple things that we're gonna be doing this week and into the next couple of weeks as well. Wednesday, we will have well over 60 individuals in the high school at different times. We have what we call mock interview mania from different people throughout the community. And we'll go around and we will have our students interview with all kinds of different businesses as well. Sometimes those are for practicing, but sometimes they're actually a real interview as well. And some of our students may walk out of there with a job offer for maybe the summer, maybe some after school things, just some things with where they're looking at, with what that looks like. So we're excited about that. We also, in 2 weeks, we have a junior job fair with our internship program, really kind of creating and giving that pathway for our juniors to look at where they intend to go as a senior for their internship or world of work experiences, to give them a quick tour or quick communication style with the employers within our community. Up here behind you as well is our career and technical education webpage that you can find on the high school website. If you scroll down, I want to stop right at, Shireen, if you would just stop at Career Ready South Dakota under career readiness. You have to keep going. These are all different areas. Keep going, one more over. Right there, just click on that for a second. This is going to take you to a separate site where we're really working within this week of work, exposing students to making sure that they have opportunities and they're able to look on different sites. It's not only just for students, but it's for employers as well. It's for people that who are interested in really that work-based learning, where we're connecting students and our industries out there for all of them. And that we need you to go back and go together. Yeah, perfect. Then one more that I want to show you, that if you see Teach in South Dakota, this is a program that, you know, not only the school, but we have really worked hard to make sure that we're exposing our own students to get into the education field for those that are. We are offering this, our intro to education class which has just been phenomenal this year. We have others that are interested in that within our internship program that are out within the community, within the educational field, but just another little resource here that we have. So in essence, you know, there are so many things that are going on within the CTE. Bottom line is, it doesn't happen without the partnerships that we have within the community. And that's fantastic for the Yankton community, that our industry workers and the industry leaders, they're willing to partner with us, and we're able to give our students a fantastic experience so that they can make some great career choice decisions moving forward. That's CTE. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next up, Mrs. Wallace, to talk about our strategic plan, where we're at and where we're going.
All right, so just to give you an update on our strategic plan, which is Forward 2029, our current strategic plan for 2024 is rounding itself out as we end up the school year here. And so in November and in February, we met in our small groups, and we had our strategic planning sessions. We took the information that we learned from our survey that was sent out mid-fall this past year, so in 2023. Took that information and revised all of our focus areas and our goals and action items. The administrators are just finalizing each focus area to make sure that they align with our survey feedback and consistency amongst each other as well. Sometimes, for example, items that the facilities committees suggested as action items impacted our fundings committee, so we wanted to make sure all of those had a cohesiveness as well. Our next step is to present our draft to the school board at the May meeting with a goal of approval in June. Any questions?
Thank you for that. Next item up here, we have our elementary math curriculum, middle school math curriculum, and our high school math curriculum. So we have all three math curriculum in those three areas. I'm going to entertain a motion to approve all three at the same time. But Mrs. Walden, is there anything you want to add before we do that?
Sure. I'll just add a couple comments. So in March, I presented the recommendations for the math instructional resources for all grades K through 12. First and foremost, I do want to make sure to again thank our committee members. It's a 2-year process. It's a lot of time from our staff, our parents, and our board members. The resources that we selected, just as a reminder, are big ideas, and it's for all grade levels K-12. The resources were chosen for their comprehensive coverage of the mathematical concepts, the ability to connect with career explorations, and the effectiveness of engaging all learners. The resources have been budgeted for purchase in the 23-24 school year with implementation during the 24-25 school year. The resources have been on display and open for public comment for the past 30 days. So therefore, on behalf of the math curriculum committees, I recommend the purchase and adoption of all the instructional materials as presented.
Thank you very much. Any further discussion? I'll entertain a motion to approve the math curriculums.
I make a motion to approve the elementary, middle school, and high school math curriculums as presented.
Second?
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Sarda?
Yes.
Mueller?
Yes.
Greenway?
Yes.
Surface?
Yes.
Crandall?
Yes. Item 13, the 2023-2024 school calendar. As you know, we have 5 snow days this year. And this is a discussion regarding what to do about the school calendar, if anything. Before I entertain a motion to change the calendar or leave as is, modify it in any way, I'd like to have a discussion about that first to see, you know, can't really have a motion until we talk about it a little bit and come to that conclusion. So if anybody have any cogent thoughts about the calendar?
I feel like if the number of hours that we have completed is sufficient for what's needed, that we leave it the same as what it is now, not change the end of the school year date.
not changing.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
I think that's typically been what our avenue and approach is when we have the school days, as long as we're meeting the hours.
Anybody else?
As I understand, those days are pretty unproductive in the classroom, aren't they? Those extra days aren't the most productive as we would hope they would be.
To Dr. Sternquist's point, just for those that might not know this, so the state requires a certain number of days which you can convert, or hours which you can convert to days for each of the levels. So like in kindergarten, we have a 5-day week here in Yankton. There are other schools that have 4 days, but we're 5. So in kindergarten, we go about 97 more days than what's required by state law for minutes. In grades 1 through 5, we go 20 more days. Grades 6 through 8, 24.6 more days. And in grades 9 through 12, just a little over 17 days more than what's required. So to Dr. Sternquist's point, that we do certainly meet and exceed what's required by the state law.
I want you to know that I had a staff meeting about this, which is what I call, I talk to myself. And so there's been some heartburn on part of the public about, missing these days and why our teachers, being held accountable for these days and so forth. And the conclusion of my meeting, I thought about the fact that teachers put in countless hours outside of the school day, on weekends, they come in early in the morning, they leave late at night, they work at home at night, in the summertime, you'll see teachers in the classroom getting things ready, off contracts and so forth. So in terms of accountability, I think our faculty and our certified staff do far more than what we require for them by contract. So I feel, and given the fact that, again, as someone mentioned, the last few days of school are kind of the focus is kind of gone a little bit, so let's put it that way. So I would also agree with the rest of what I've heard so far, and that is we do nothing regarding this and hold the school calendar to be as it is. So that'd be my impression. I sure entertain a motion to.
I'll make a motion to leave the school calendar as it was.
Second.
Would the second to make no changes to the school calendar? Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Sternquist?
Yes.
Greenaway? Yes. Sarda?
Yes.
Mueller?
Yes.
Crandall?
Yes. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Adjourn.